Anya's face was pale, a stark white mask under the harsh fluorescent lights of Julian's office. His security guards, 2 mountains in cheap suits, stood behind her chair, their hands resting near their sides. Julian paced in front of her, holding a small, black plastic rectangle between his thumb and forefinger, the dummy device. He held it up like a prize he'd just won. "Did you really think you could outsmart me?" he seethed, his voice a low growl. He wasn't looking at her. His eyes were fixed just to the left of her shoulder, right at the tiny lens of the webcam I'd told her to wear. He wasn't talking to her. He was talking to me. Just 10 minutes before, my world was a silent scream. The frantic, all-caps messages from Anya were still burning on my screen. "I'm compromised. He's coming to my office." My heart had seized, a block of ice in my chest. He had her. After everything, after all my careful planning, my ghost in his machine, Julian's brute force paranoia had won. He'd put a tail on his entire senior staff, and he'd found the one person I trusted. He'd found my hands inside his company. I had led her right into the fire. My first instinct was to burn it all down, activate the final kill switch, crash the whole system, expose everything I had right then and there. But that wasn't the plan. That was panic. And panic was Julian's game, not mine. I took a breath, the air scraping my lungs. The grief and the shock calcified, hardening into something else, cold clarity. This wasn't the end, it was an acceleration. He'd handed me a new weapon, his own arrogance. I opened a secure channel. My fingers flew across the keyboard, my movements precise, devoid of the tremor that shook my body. The message was just one line: "Anya, don't disconnect. I have a new plan." "It's dangerous." The 3 dots that signaled she was typing appeared, vanished, then appeared again. Her fear was a tangible thing, bleeding through the screen. Finally, a single word came back: "How dangerous?" The most dangerous thing I could ask, I typed. "I need you to get caught." Silence. I could picture her, huddled at her desk, the sound of approaching footsteps in the hallway. I knew what I was asking. I was asking her to step into the cage with the lion. "Leo, he'll destroy me," she wrote back. "He'll call the police, my career. He won't call the police," I typed, my confidence a lie I was selling to both of us. "Not yet, he's too narcissistic. He needs to know who he beat. He'll want to talk to me first." "That's our window." I sent her the instructions. A small, inert device I'd given her for emergencies, a simple signal jammer that looked menacing but did nothing. Plant it under her desk. Let them find it. Let him think he'd cornered the mole. Every part of me screamed against it, against putting her in that room with him. But every move Julian had made, from stealing my company to framing me for his crimes, was born from his need to be the smartest man in the room. He wouldn't just have Anya arrested, he would use her as bait. And the bait was the trap. "Okay," she finally typed. "I'm in, what do I do?" "Just be afraid," I wrote. That part shouldn't be hard to fake. Now, watching through the tiny camera on her lapel, I saw the scene play out exactly as I'd gambled it would. Security had found the device during a sweep. They'd brought her to Julian. And he was playing his part perfectly. He was the king, triumphant, holding court for an audience of one, me. "I have to hand it to you, Leo," Julian said to the camera, a cruel smile twisting his lips. "You had me going, crashing the server farms, leaking the financials, cute. But you got greedy. You sent a little mouse to do a giant's work." He gestured dismissively at Anya, who flinched. "And now I have your mouse." My hands were fists on my desk. Every protective instinct screamed to intervene, but I was paralyzed, a spectator in my own nightmare. This had to play out. Julian pulled out his phone, my breath caught. This was it, the moment the entire plan hinged on. The device Anya had planted wasn't a transmitter. It was a key, a very specific key, designed to mimic the secure Aegis internal network. For the last 2 months, I'd used the ghost to map every digital handshake inside that building. When Julian's phone came within 10 feet of that device, it would recognize the mimic network as friendly. For a split second, its external firewalls would lower, just enough to accept a connection from another trusted device, on the same network. And Julian's ego demanded he make that call from right next to his trophy. He scrolled through his contacts, then stopped. A smug look crossed his face. He was calling me from a blocked number. Perfect. My own phone buzzed on the desk. The screen read unknown caller. I let it ring once, twice. I needed him to be savoring it. I picked up. It's over, Leo. Julian's voice gloated, dripping with satisfaction. I could hear the faint, terrified sound of Anya's breathing in the background. I have your little spy. She's confessed to everything. Corporate espionage, wire fraud. It's a real mess. I imagine she'll face some serious time. I stayed silent. I let the threat hang in the air. But he continued, drawing the word out. I'm a forgiving man. There's another way. You're going to walk into the nearest police station. You're going to confess to sabotaging my company. You're going to tell them you acted alone. And if you do that, I'll let her go. Maybe. My throat was dry. You're asking me to turn myself in. I'm not asking, he snarled. I'm telling you how this ends. You have 1 hour. If I don't see your face on the news in handcuffs, then her face will be there instead. Your choice. The company you built or the woman you dragged down with you. He thought he was giving me an impossible choice. He thought he was in complete control. That was his flaw. It had always been his flaw. He saw the board, but he never saw the player. He saw the move, but he never saw the motive. He'd stolen my company, my name, my life's work. Did he really think this was about a server farm? Did he remember what he did to my father? How he used our family's seed money to build his throne, then left my dad with nothing when his health failed. He had mentioned it once, years ago, after a few too many drinks at a company party. Sometimes you have to cut loose the dead weight to fly. He'd slurred, clapping me on the shoulder. He probably didn't even remember saying it. I remembered it every single day. This was never just about the code. It was about the debt. A quiet ping sounded in my ear, a notification only I could hear. The handshake was complete. The ghost was in, not just in the Aegis network anymore. It was inside Julian's phone, and through his phone, it was inside the master control panel for the global launch. You've been quiet, Leo, Julian prodded, his voice laced with contempt. Running the calculations, trying to find a way out. There isn't one, it's checkmate. I took a slow, deliberate breath. The ice in my chest wasn't fear anymore. It was steel. I stayed silent for 1 beat longer, letting him taste the victory he thought was his. Then I spoke, my voice calm, even, and terribly quiet. You're right, Julian, it's checkmate. He laughed, a short, ugly bark of a sound. Glad you see it my way. I do, I said. Now look up. There was a moment of confused silence on his end. I could see it through the camera feed, the frown that creased his forehead. He turned, glancing over his shoulder at the massive wall-mounted monitor that dominated his office. It was his data dashboard, his window into his kingdom. But the charts and graphs were gone. In their place was a single, sleek graphic for the Aegis Global launch event, and below it a countdown timer. 000200, the numbers were ticking down. Red, urgent. What is this? Julian demanded, his voice losing its confident edge. What did you do? The whole world is about to see it my way too, I said, and hung up.